Okay, hello. Welcome to Bit Project's webinar number 3. My name is Mintu, the program coordinator for Bit Project, and today's topic I will be going over GitHub and how to use the basic functions of GitHub. This is just a general breakdown of what we'll be covering today. So we'll go over the goal of the webinar, what exactly even is GitHub, some vocabulary, issues, setting up GitHub Desktop, pull requests, and Markdown with Typora. Hopefully everyone is already aware of our efforts to go remote. This is why we're trying to move away from other applications and just stick to just one. So it's good for this case, it is GitHub. Everything will be in one place for conveniency and easy access across all teams. Therefore, the goal of this webinar is to help all of you become familiar enough with GitHub that you are able to use it on a daily basis for your team. What exactly even is GitHub? In layman terms, it's basically just a platform where developers or users are able to store all their files onto an online website where other developers are able to easily access them. This makes collaboration very easy since all team members will be able to access the files at all times. Our Bit Project GitHub practices an open source philosophy. All of our resources are available for public use as we work towards our goal of creating accessible curriculum for all. It is also very transparent because you are able to see easily whose work is whose. The next few slides go over some vocabulary that is special to Git in GitHub. I will be frequently using these terms throughout the rest of the webinar, so it is important that we review these at the beginning. A repository is essentially a folder. It holds all the contents for a specific project, such as all the notes, codes, and etc. Cloning is making a copy of a repository and putting it into your own editing application on your computer. This is important because when you make this copy, you only make changes to your own copy and not to the official version. We'll get into how to actually change the official version later on. A branch has a similar concept to cloning, but this happens within the repository itself. A branch allows you to make edits and it will not affect the master branch. It will only affect the master branch after it is merged. Merge, in quick terms, is basically applying the changes. The master branch is the official branch that contains all the final products of the repository's projects. Commit is like a save button. Every time you click on commit, it keeps a record of the changes you made. Push sends your changes from your branch within your cloned repository to the branch within the GitHub website. The pull function is what gets you the latest version of the repository. If another member made changes to the repository, you would want to pull to have the latest version in your application. A pull request are proposed changes from a contributor. When they make their own edits in their own branch/repository, the contributors are allowed to submit a request to the owners of the Bit Project GitHub to have your changes added into the master branch, or aka the final version. Merge, as I mentioned before, is the action of taking the changes in one branch and adding them into another. Open source is just our philosophy that we follow with our GitHub. Anyone has access to it and is allowed to make their own edits and contribute to the project and our cause. Now we'll be going over GitHub issues. So issues are ways for members to suggest improvement, assign tasks, or ask questions in a specific project repository. I'll get into a live demo in a moment as to what an issue looks like and where you can find them, but these are really useful since you can assign them to a specific person where they'll be notified, and with each issue comes a discussion forum. All comments and questions will be in one place, so you can always refer back to it if you need to. So the rest of this part is essentially just a tutorial of where to find them, but I will be giving a live version of where you can find them, so if you want to, you can always refer back to this presentation for these tutorials right here, and so forth. Okay. So if you're looking for your issues, there's a very easy way to find them. At the top right here, when you first enter the Bit Project GitHub, you would just click at the top right here and find issues. Click on it, and then now you can see all the issues that you created yourself. So these are all the issues I've created so far. Assigned are the ones that are assigned to you specifically. So you just click on the word assigned at the top left corner, and then you could click on mentioned. And these are the ones where you were mentioned in it itself, but not necessarily assigned to it. So yeah, those are the three different things that you probably would do with issues. Yeah. Okay. So issues for projects and milestones. Project boards keep track of projects. It's a visual setup that allows members to see how much progress is made until a project is actually complete. Milestones are issue trackers. Team managers are able to keep track of their members' progress when it comes to completing issues. So, as I said before, here are some examples of what they look like, but I will be showing you on the actual website itself, but you can always feel free to refer back to this. Okay, so going back to the repo. Oops, sorry. Okay, so going back into the main repo, or where all the repos are stored, you would just click on projects over here. And then these are all our current available projects. So if I click on people, for example, these are all the issues that were attached to this project. So as you can see, there's 3 sections, to do, in progress, and done. So issues are placed into their respective columns depending on their given status. And if you want to move an issue to another column, you would just click on it and drag it over. And then there it is. Now it's in the new column. I should put it back. Okay. Now for milestones, if you click on a certain repository, such as, I'll click on curriculum. So I'll go into the curriculum repository, go to issues, and then I will click milestones right here. So now I can see all the created milestones that are within this repository. So I can track the progress of individual members and to see how much they have finished with all their assigned issues. So for example, if I go into Sarah's team's milestone issues, so you can see they have 3 issues that are still open. So that's why it does track progress. So as you can see, it's like 84% complete. So that determines like how close it is to being done. And you can also set a due date. So I'm going to show you a quick way to how you can assign your issues to these. So if you click back into the Issues tab, click on New Issue. If you just open a quick blank one. Okay, so right here, you can see projects and milestone. So if you click on projects, you are free to assign it to any project that is currently within the repository. So I guess this is the only one that's currently open. And then for milestones, you can click on which one you would like to assign it to. Yeah. Okay. Now onto GitHub Desktop. GitHub Desktop is an application on your computer that greatly simplifies the workflow for GitHub. Instead of going into terminal and doing all the code, GitHub Desktop is a beginner-friendly and is very easy to use no matter your experience level. Contributing to the GitHub will be very simple because of this. So now I'll be showing you a live demo of how to set up your GitHub Desktop, but feel free to return back to these slides as these slides give a step-by-step. Okay. So first you do have to go to GitHub, oh, not that one, desktop.github.com. And then you would click download for whichever type of computer you have. And once you download it, you would go into the GitHub webpage. And then you would click on the specific repository that you would like to add into your application. So for me, I'm going to pick meetings. So once I click on the meetings repository, I would go over here to this green button that says clone or download. Click on it and then copy the URL link right here. And then once you open your GitHub Desktop application, you will get this page. So in order to clone my repository, I will have to click on clone from the internet, click on URL, and then I would insert the name or the URL that you just copied into this bar right here. And then I would have to adjust my folder because it cannot be in a folder that already contains things. There you go. So then I would click on clone. And now I have the whole repository within my GitHub desktop. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to demonstrate how to actually use GitHub Desktop. So if I want to add meeting notes into the meeting repository, give me a second. Okay. I would have to go back into the GitHub website or the web page. And for this, you want to create your own branch. The point of creating your own branch is so that you aren't making edits directly into the master branch. Okay, so even though my name is already there, I'm going to make another one for the sake of your demo. So just type in the name of your branch that you would like to create, and then click on Create Branch. Okay, so once you do that, you go back into your GitHub Desktop, and then click on Fetch Origin. So now everything within that meeting repository on the GitHub webpage should be on your GitHub Desktop. So I will find my new branch, which is min23. And then now I am only going to be able to edit my branch. Okay. Now I would click on, I would want to edit the things within the meeting repository within my own external editor. So in this case, my external editor is Typora. So I'll click Open in Typora over here. There you go. So this is what Typora looks like. It's a Markdown editing application that you are free to use since it is very simple and easy. So now I want to create a new meeting template. So I would just go over here. I would copy everything here. Say I'll add it to onboarding. Like I want to create a new meeting note for onboarding. So I would right click, then click on new file, name it OK, click on it, copy and paste, and then here is my meeting template that I have yet to change since I didn't have a meeting yet and I don't know the exact specifics. But now I want to click save. So once I click save, all of my changes will be sent to the GitHub desktop. But now I want to click on commit, which is the bottom, which is the button on the bottom left corner of GitHub desktop. The changes will be then saved to my branch. But the changes have not been registered into GitHub just yet. So that's why you want to click on either this blue button or this right here. This will push your changes into the GitHub website branch itself. So once you click push, okay. So once you click push, okay. Sorry. Once you click push, your GitHub website will now be notified. So right here you can see that I have pushed this branch into the GitHub website, and now I will want to make a pull request so that the people that are in charge of the Bit Project GitHub are aware of the changes I made and that I would like to integrate it into the master branch. So I would click on this green button, compare, and pull request. So the things that you want to make sure that you check in this part is to make sure that your base is the master and your compare is your own branch. Your title should accurately reflect the changes that you made. So I did create a new empty file called Practice Webinar. In my comment section, I should always include the issues that I am actually changing or I am assigned. So say I was assigned an issue to create this practice webinar. So I would just click the pound sign, and then I would click one of these. Click number 11. So then now this pull request is associated with a certain issue. So you should always remember to do that if you are adjusting the issues you are assigned to. Okay. And I guess in the rest of the comment section, you should just write a brief description of what your pull request is doing. So my pull request is just showing an example of using GitHub Desktop and opening a pull request. Okay, so now I want to change the assignee so that the person is aware that I am making this pull request, and then they'll look over it to check whether or not it should be okay to merge into the master branch. So I'll just assign it for myself for this sake of the webinar. And then, yeah, and then you would just click on create pull request. Once you do that, since I sent it to myself, I am notified of this change. And then since I see there's nothing wrong with it, I would just click merge pull request and confirm. And then now it is successfully integrated into the main branch. So if I go back to issues, if I go back to code, I'm on the master branch, I go under onboarding, and then now my file is there. Okay. So that's essentially what the next lots of slides are. It is using GitHub Desktop and creating a pull request. So now I'll be going over Markdown and Typora. So Markdown is just a simple syntax that makes formatting text characteristics really easy. It is a set of rules that allows you to manipulate the way text looks. From making text bold to changing it to lists and much more. If you guys are familiar with HTML, Markdown is just a simplified version of that. It was purposely made to be very easy to write and read. Typora is an editing application that supports Markdown. It is very simplistic with a minimalistic aesthetic that allows it to be very beginner friendly. It has shortcuts for the Markdown formatting options for beginners to get used to. So here are some resources that you could refer to if you are not familiar with Markdown and Typora, but I'll give a short or a quick example of what it looks like. No. Okay, so everything here, this is using Typora and Markdown. This Markdown is this kind of formatting with like the bold heading, bullet points, italics, things like that. So if I go, I'll just use the top here. So if I want a heading, I would just do one pound sign and then write whatever I want, click enter, it makes a heading. If I want a subheading, it's 2 pound signs, type your whatever you want, now it's a subheading. And if you want a subheading, it's 3 pound signs, and so forth. And then if you want like a bullet point, I believe it is a dash. There you go. So if you want more bullet points, things like that. If you want to emphasize a word, it's the star sign, that's like shift 8, and then yeah. And there you go. And yeah, those are some examples of what Markdown is able to do. This is just the bare minimum of what it is capable of. So now I'm going to show you how to connect your GitHub Desktop to Typora itself. Okay, ignoring those changes. You would open your GitHub Desktop and then you would click on GitHub Desktop and find your preferences. So once you click on preferences, you would click on integrations. And then over here it says external editor. So now you're able to pick which application you would like to use as your external editor. And then once you click on Typora, click save, and now you are able to edit your files or your repository through that certain application. And then now you're all set. So using Typora with GitHub Desktop is essentially the same as what I showed you previously with any standard application. So you should refer to slides 30 to 39 or the earlier part of this presentation. So that's all I have for this GitHub webinar. Thank you for listening and good luck.